I watched as my phone notifications exploded. 50,000 views and counting. My hands were trembling as I scrolled through hundreds of DMs pouring in. "You're a queen. He deserved it. The way you executed this was genius." My carefully planned Instagram stories expose had gone viral, way beyond my 2,000 followers. And somewhere across town, my now ex-boyfriend Jake was experiencing what I'd spent 3 weeks meticulously planning: total public humiliation as his double life collapsed around him. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me rewind and tell you exactly how I caught my boyfriend of 2 years cheating, gathered bulletproof evidence, and orchestrated the most satisfying public takedown that turned me into an overnight social media sensation. Buckle up, because this gets wild. It all started on a completely ordinary Tuesday evening. I was at my apartment, scrolling through TikTok while waiting for Jake to finish his late meeting at work. We'd been dating for almost 2 years, and I genuinely thought he was the one. Handsome, charming, came from a well-respected family in our city, and always knew exactly what to say. His Instagram captions about me were the kind other girls would screenshot and send to their boyfriends as hints. Relationship goals, my friends would comment. If they only knew what was coming. That night, I was mindlessly scrolling when I got a notification from an account I didn't recognize. A simple DM that said, "I think you should know something about Jake," along with a photo that made my stomach drop to the floor. It was Jake, his arm wrapped around a petite blonde I'd never seen before, kissing her outside what looked like a restaurant downtown. The timestamp showed it was from just 3 days earlier, when he told me he was at a business dinner with clients. My first instinct was denial. "That's an old photo," I told myself. "Maybe it's photoshopped." But the sick feeling in my gut told me otherwise. The woman who sent it, let's call her Melissa, said she was friends with the blonde in the photo, a girl named Ashley who had been dating Jake for the past 4 months. 4 months. While I was planning our future together, the room started spinning. I felt like I couldn't breathe. The careful life we'd been building, weekend trips to his parents' lake house, conversations about moving in together next year, the playlist we'd already started for our hypothetical wedding, all of it was a lie. I rushed to the bathroom and threw up, my body physically rejecting the betrayal before my mind could fully process it. When I finally composed myself, I stared at my reflection in the mirror. My eyes were red and puffy. Mascara streaked down my cheeks. But behind the devastation, I saw something else. Determination. This wouldn't be like my college breakup, where I cried for weeks and let him control the narrative. This time would be different. I splashed cold water on my face and messaged Melissa back. "Thank you for telling me. Can we talk more? I need details." But here's where the story takes a turn you're not expecting. Instead of confronting Jake immediately, screaming, crying, or burning his things on my balcony, all completely valid reactions, something clicked inside me. I've been trying to grow my social media presence as a lifestyle and fashion influencer for years, hovering around 2,000 followers despite my best efforts. What if I could use this betrayal as an opportunity? I know that sounds calculated. Maybe it was. But when you've been completely humiliated, sometimes the best revenge isn't just getting even, it's getting ahead. "Thanks for letting me know," I replied to Melissa. "But I need more evidence before I do anything. Does your friend know you're telling me this?" Turns out, Ashley had no idea Jake had a girlfriend. She thought she was his only one. Melissa had seen us together on Jake's Instagram and connected the dots that he was two-timing both of us, and she was willing to help me gather evidence. This is where my plan began forming. I would need irrefutable proof, not just for myself, but for what I was about to do. "Don't tell Ashley yet," I wrote to Melissa. "I want to catch him red-handed. For the next 2 weeks, I became someone I didn't recognize, a private investigator obsessed with documentation. I started keeping meticulous notes of Jake's excuses, his work events, the times he was too tired to see me. I screenshot his location when it mysteriously went offline. I photographed the mileage on his car when he wasn't looking, which increased by 43 miles on a night he claimed to be staying in. I created a secret folder on my phone labeled Tax Documents 2023, something I knew Jake would never open if he happened to look at my phone. Inside, I documented everything: the timestamps of his calls, the inconsistencies in his stories, the Instagram posts from local bars that showed him in the background on nights he was supposedly working late. The worst part wasn't the lies themselves. It was realizing how easily they had rolled off his tongue. How many times had he kissed me goodbye, looked me in the eyes and said, "I'll miss you," before going straight to another woman? How many times had I believed him when he said he was too busy to call, while he was actually spending the night with her? Each discovery was like a knife twisting deeper. But instead of breaking down, I channeled my pain into purpose. Every piece of evidence was another brick in the foundation of what would become my viral revenge. But the real breakthrough came when Melissa agreed to help me create a fake Instagram account. We made a profile for a stunning brunette named Sophia, using AI-generated photos that looked realistic, but weren't an actual person. Then we used this account to DM Jake. You wouldn't believe how quickly he took the bait. Within 3 messages, he was flirting. Within 10, he was suggesting they meet for drinks. Not once did he mention having a girlfriend, or apparently 2 girlfriends. "I like to keep my private life off social media," he told fake Sophia. The irony was almost laughable, considering his feed was filled with photos of us together, captioned with declarations of love that now made me sick to my stomach. I remember sitting on my bedroom floor at 2 a.m., staring at these messages, tears streaming down my face. Not tears of sadness anymore, but of anger. Pure, clarifying anger. This wasn't a one-time mistake or a moment of weakness. This was calculated deception, and it had been going on for months. "Are you seeing anyone right now?" our fake Sophia had asked. "No one serious," Jake replied. "I'm very much available for the right person." I screenshot the conversation, added it to my evidence folder, and made myself a promise. Jake would regret the day he decided I wasn't enough. But wait, it gets even better. Or worse, depending on how you look at it. Melissa and I arranged for Ashley to coincidentally show up at a bar where Jake and I were having drinks with friends. I pretended not to notice when Ashley walked in, but I was watching from the corner of my eye as she spotted Jake, her face lighting up before confusion set in as she saw his arm around me. I excused myself to the bathroom, and Melissa, who had come separately and pretended not to know any of us, approached Ashley, pretending to recognize her from Instagram. They chatted in the corner while I watched Jake check his phone obsessively, clearly panicking as he realized both of his girlfriends were in the same room. The look on his face, that moment of pure terror when he realized his carefully constructed double life was at risk of collapsing, was something I'll never forget. His tan complexion turned ashen. Beads of sweat formed on his forehead. He kept glancing between me at the bar and Ashley in the corner, clearly calculating his escape route. "Everything okay?" I asked innocently when I returned, noting how his face had gone pale. "Just work stuff," he muttered, suggesting we leave soon after. The next day, Ashley confronted him about who I was. He told her I was his crazy ex, who couldn't let go and still thought we were together. Classic Jake, always thinking on his feet. What he didn't know was that Ashley was now in on my plan. Yes, that's right. Instead of fighting over this two-timing jerk, we decided to team up. And that's when my viral revenge plot really took shape. The day after the bar incident, I met Ashley in person for the first time, at a coffee shop far from Jake's usual haunts. Walking in, I spotted her immediately. Petite, blonde, wearing a floral sundress with a denim jacket. She looked exactly like the type of girl Jake would go for. Beautiful in an effortless way, with a warm smile that probably made him feel like the center of the universe, the same way he'd made me feel. When our eyes met, there was this strange moment of recognition, not just of each other's faces from photos, but of the identical hurt and betrayal we both carried. We'd been living parallel lives, loving the same man, being fed the same lies, planning futures that would never happen. It was surreal. "I ordered you a latte," she said as I approached the table. "Melissa mentioned it's your go-to." I smiled, surprised by the gesture. "Thanks. I got you a blueberry muffin. Saw it on your Instagram that you love them." And just like that, the ice was broken. For the next 3 hours, yes, 3 hours, we compared notes, showed each other text messages, and pieced together a timeline of Jake's double life that was so meticulously executed it was almost impressive. Almost. Wait, so when he said he was at his cousin's wedding in May, Ashley started. "He was with you in the Hamptons," I finished. "And when he told you he had that business trip to Chicago, he was celebrating your anniversary," she said, shaking her head in disbelief. "How did he keep all these lies straight?" I pulled out my phone and showed her my calendar app. "Look at this. Every event, every date night, every work trip carefully documented. I bet if we cross-reference with your calendar," she was already opening her phone. "I do the same thing. I've always been super organized about scheduling." We spent the next hour creating a master timeline, marveling at Jake's intricate web of deception. Not once did he slip up. Not once did he accidentally send a text to the wrong girlfriend or call one of us by the other's name. He maintained separate digital identities, separate friend groups, even separate favorite restaurants for each of us. "You know what's crazy?" Ashley said, stirring her third coffee. "I don't even feel angry at you. Like, at all." "Same," I admitted. "It's all directed at him. And I keep thinking, if he did this to both of us, there are probably others." I finished her thought. That's when the light bulb moment happened. Ashley looked at me with this glint in her eye that I recognized immediately. It was the same expression I saw in the mirror when I first decided not to confront Jake immediately. "You're thinking what I'm thinking, aren't you?" she asked. I nodded slowly. "We need to find out how deep this goes. And then we make sure he never does this to anyone else again." By the time we left that coffee shop, Operation Expose Jake was officially born. We created a shared Google Doc to compile evidence, established a private Instagram group chat with Melissa, and set up daily check-ins. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about justice. For us, and for any other women who might fall for Jake's charm in the future. Our investigation went deeper than I initially planned. With Ashley's help, we discovered Jake had a pattern dating back to college. Through some social media sleuthing and reaching out to his ex-girlfriends, carefully so word wouldn't get back to him, we learned he'd been doing this for years, juggling multiple relationships, creating elaborate cover stories, gaslighting women when they got suspicious. One ex, Danielle, sent us screenshots of texts where Jake had called her paranoid and insecure when she'd questioned his frequent disappearances. Disappearances we now knew coincided with his early dates with me. Another, Rebecca, told us Jake had accused her of ruining his life by spying when she'd spotted him with another woman who wasn't me or Ashley, suggesting there might have been yet another girlfriend in the rotation at some point. The more we dug, the more calculated and systematic his behavior appeared. This wasn't just a man who'd made a mistake or gotten in over his head. This was someone who enjoyed the power, the game, the manipulation. "He's a serial cheater," Ashley said during one of our strategy sessions at my apartment. "Like, pathologically." "Worse," I replied, staring at the evidence wall we'd created. Yes, we actually had a physical evidence wall, like detectives in a crime show. He's a serial emotional abuser, because that's what it was. Emotional abuse. The constant lying, the gaslighting, the making us question our own instincts when things felt off. I remembered how many times I'd apologized to him for being too needy when I'd asked where he was going, or for being dramatic when I'd expressed hurt over a canceled plan, all while he was building a completely separate relationship with Ashley, making her feel like she was his whole world. The realization fueled our determination. This wasn't just about humiliating Jake anymore. It was about exposing a dangerous pattern and protecting other women. You see, Jake's family is extremely image-conscious. His father is a prominent business owner in our city. His mother sits on multiple charity boards, and his older brother is running for city council. Appearances matter to them more than almost anything. Jake had always been careful to portray himself as the perfect son, the perfect boyfriend, the perfect community member on social media. I remembered meeting his parents for the first time, how his mother had taken me aside and said, "We're so glad Jake found someone who understands the importance of reputation." At the time, I thought she meant someone responsible and kind. Now I realized she meant someone who would maintain their pristine public image, regardless of what happened behind closed doors. The Andersons, not their real name, but let's call them that, were more concerned with how things looked than how they actually were. Jake had learned from the best. His father was known for his charitable donations, but also for underpaying his workers. His mother organized fundraisers for women's shelters while gossiping viciously about her friends, and his brother's campaign platform focused on family values, while he reportedly cheated on his taxes. I decided to use that against him. In the meantime, I had to keep playing the role of loving, oblivious girlfriend. It was the hardest acting job of my life. Every time Jake touched me, every time he looked into my eyes and said, "I love you," every time he made plans for our future, knowing it was all lies, I had to swallow my rage and smile back. "You're doing amazing," Ashley texted me after I sent her a selfie of Jake and me at dinner, his arm around my shoulders, my smile convincingly affectionate. Oscar-worthy performance. The worst was when he came over to my place one night, bringing my favorite takeout and a small jewelry box. Inside was a delicate silver bracelet with a tiny heart charm. "Just because," he said, kissing my forehead as he fastened it around my wrist. "I know I've been busy with work lately, and I wanted you to know I'm always thinking about you." I felt physically ill as I thanked him, wondering if Ashley had a matching bracelet, or if this was some twisted way to alleviate his own guilt. Later that night, after he left, I took the bracelet off and added it to our evidence collection. Exhibit 23, Guilt Gift, I labeled it. For the next week, I collected all my evidence. Screenshots of conversations, photos Melissa had taken of Jake and Ashley together, the chat logs from our fake Sophia account, and videos of Jake lying straight to my face about where he had been, recorded without his knowledge while I asked innocent questions, knowing exactly where he'd actually been thanks to Ashley's intel. Our collection of evidence became comprehensive and damning. We had side-by-side text screenshots showing identical "good morning beautiful" messages sent to both of us, often within minutes of each other, calendar comparisons showing how he'd scheduled us on alternate weekends, with work trips as cover photos of gifts he'd given us both, including disturbingly similar items. We both had silver jewelry with heart charms, just different pieces. A voice recording of him telling Ashley he wasn't ready for a serious relationship. The same week he discussed moving in together with me, bank statement snippets, showing dinner purchases on his credit card that aligned perfectly with our timeline of his double life screenshots from the fake Sophia account, where he explicitly stated he was single and looking to meet someone special, over a dozen lies documented. And real time. texts claiming he was at work while photos showed him with the other woman. The evidence was organized meticulously, with timestamps and annotations explaining the significance of each item. I created a color-coded timeline spanning the entire 8 months of his two-timing, 4 months with Ashley, overlapping with month 16-20 of my relationship with him. Every alibi, every date night, every suspicious work emergency was documented. But the most powerful piece of evidence came unexpectedly. While scrolling through Jake's Instagram one evening, something I'd done countless times before, I noticed a pattern in his photo captions that I'd overlooked. When posting pictures with me, he often used the phrase, "making memories with this one." With Ashley, his go-to was, "adventures with my favorite person." Small, seemingly meaningless differences, unless you knew he was talking about 2 different women. I compiled these side by side, creating a damning collage of his carefully compartmentalized social media presence. He had been hiding in plain sight, confident that his separate circles would never intersect. "This is sociopathic," Ashley said when I showed her the pattern. "Like, actually diagnosable." "It's calculated," I agreed. "He's been doing this so long he has systems for it." That's when Ashley suggested something that elevated our plan to another level. What if we don't just expose him to us, or to his family, or to our friends? What if we make this bigger? "How much bigger?" I asked, already knowing I'd like her answer. "As big as possible," she said, a glint of determination in her eyes. "He wants to control the narrative about who he is. Let's take that away from him." That night, we researched viral exposés, analyzed which formats got the most engagement, and studied the anatomy of social media moments that transcended personal networks to reach broader audiences. We wanted maximum impact, but we also needed to be careful about potential legal issues. No false claims, no explicit calls for harassment, just the unvarnished truth presented in the most compelling way possible. I organized everything chronologically, fact-checked it with both Melissa and Ashley, and then prepared my content calendar. Yes, an actual content calendar for my revenge. I created a 24-part Instagram story sequence, each slide meticulously designed, with captions that were emotional but not hysterical, exposing but not legally problematic. I consulted with a friend who works in social media marketing, describing my plan in vague terms without naming names. She helped me refine the timing, pacing, and visual presentation for maximum impact. We chose a color scheme, black, white, and red for warning and danger, consistent fonts, and even background music that would build tension throughout the sequence. Every detail was considered. Even the posting time was strategic, prime evening hours when most Instagram users would be actively scrolling. But there was one more element that would make this truly devastating. I timed everything perfectly. The weekend of his brother's campaign fundraising gala, with all of his family's high society friends in attendance, I put my plan into action. The night before the gala, Jake came over to my apartment. He was unusually attentive, bringing my favorite wine and suggesting we order in rather than go out. "I'm going to be so busy this weekend with my brother's campaign stuff," he explained, stroking my hair as we sat on the couch. I wanted to make sure we had some quality time together. I forced myself to lean into his touch, suppressing the urge to recoil. "That's sweet. How long is the gala tomorrow night?" "Probably till late," he said, pouring me another glass of wine. "These political events always drag on. My mom's making me wear a tux and everything." I laughed as if this was charming. "Take pictures. I love you in formal wear." "Will do," he promised, kissing my forehead. "Sorry you can't be there. Family and donors only, you know how it is." What Jake didn't know was that I'd seen the actual guest list. His mother had posted it accidentally in the background of one of her Instagram photos, and I'd zoomed in enough to see that +1s were explicitly encouraged. Another lie to add to the collection. As we cuddled on the couch watching a movie, I felt a strange sense of peace. This would be the last night I'd have to pretend. The last time I'd have to swallow my disgust as he touched me. By this time tomorrow, everything would be different. After he left, I texted Ashley, T-minus 18 hours until launch. Everything ready on your end? She replied with a thumbs up emoji and added, just posted the soft tease to my close friends list. This was part of our strategy. Ashley had posted a vague, truth will be revealed tomorrow, get ready for receipts, story to her close friends, which included several mutuals with Jake but not Jake himself. We wanted whispers to start circulating, creating anticipation without tipping him off. I barely slept that night, rehearsing the sequence in my head. Ashley and I had agreed on the precise timing. I would begin posting at 7 p.m., when dinner at the gala would be in full swing. According to the schedule Jake's mother had shared on her Facebook page, his brother would be giving his speech around 7:30 p.m., so Jake's phone would be blowing up right as his family was in the spotlight. The next day crawled by in slow motion. I cleaned my apartment, went for a run, meticulously did my hair and makeup, not because I was going anywhere, but because I wanted to look my best in the video introduction I planned to post. This wasn't just revenge, it was content creation, and presentation mattered. At 6:30 p.m., Ashley, Melissa, and I got on a 3-way video call for final preparations. Everyone clear on the timeline? I asked, checking my perfectly organized posting schedule one last time. Ashley nodded, her face determined. Crystal clear. I'll start reposting and adding my commentary as soon as you hit slide 5. And I've got the backup archives ready in case he tries to report the content, Melissa added. She worked in social media management and knew exactly how to preserve digital evidence if Instagram took anything down. At 6:55 p.m., my hands were trembling so badly I could barely hold my phone. This was it. No turning back. Deep breath, Ashley said, watching me through the video call. Remember why we're doing this? I nodded, steeling myself. For every woman he's lied to, and every woman he would lie to in the future. At exactly 7 p.m., when I knew the gala would be in full swing and everyone would be checking their phones during dinner, I posted the first story, a beautiful photo of Jake and me from happier times, with the caption, "A story about trust, betrayal, and what happens when you date the wrong person." Part 1 of 24. By slide 5, I had revealed the initial evidence of his cheating. The revelation was methodical, almost clinical in its presentation. Slide 2. Jake and I have been together for 2 years. I thought we were building a future. Slide 3. Until I received this message from a stranger. Screenshot of Melissa's initial DM with her name and profile pic blurred. Slide 4. Along with this photo, the image of Jake kissing Ashley outside the restaurant, timestamp clearly visible. Slide 5. Taken on the night he told me he was at a business dinner with clients. Screenshot of Jake's text, "Working late tonight, babe, client dinner downtown, don't wait up." The response was immediate. Views jumped from my usual 500, 600 to over 3,000 within minutes. Comments started flooding in. OMG what? I know him. Girl, expose him. I continued posting according to schedule, watching the view count climb with each slide. Slide 6. Instead of confronting him immediately, I decided to investigate. Photo of my evidence wall. Slide 7. And what I discovered was worse than I imagined. Dramatic pause slide with just text. Slide 8. Jake wasn't just cheating with one person. Suspenseful music in background. Slide 9. He was living a complete double life. Split screen of his social media posts with me versus with Ashley. By slide 10, I introduced Ashley, who had agreed to be part of the expose. This was the turning point. No longer just another cheating story, but something more calculated and systematic. Slide 10. Meet Ashley. Video of Ashley introducing herself. Hi, I'm Ashley, Jake's other girlfriend of 4 months. Or at least, that's what I thought I was. Slide 11. Ashley thought she was in an exclusive relationship with Jake. Screenshots of romantic texts from Jake to Ashley. Slide 12. At the exact same time he was telling me I was the only one. Split screen showing identical "Good morning, beautiful" texts sent to both of us minutes apart. Slide 13. We discovered he had elaborate systems to keep us separated. Calendar view showing how he scheduled us on alternating days. Slide 14. But we're not the first women he's done this to. Brief testimonials from 2 exes, faces blurred, describing similar patterns. By slide 15, we revealed how we had caught him red-handed, including screen recordings of him making plans with Sophia while texting me that he was stuck at work. This section was particularly damning. Slide 15. To confirm our suspicions, we created a test, an introduction of the Sophia sting operation. Here I included a video walkthrough of the fake profile we'd created, showing the AI-generated photos and the blank message history, demonstrating this wasn't entrapment, but verification. Slide 16. It took exactly 3 messages for Jake to start flirting with Sophia. Screenshots of initial conversation. Slide 17. And by message 10, he was asking her out. Screen recording scrolling through the increasingly flirtatious chat. Slide 18. While simultaneously telling me, split screen showing his text to Sophia alongside text to me, claiming he was working late. Slide 19. And telling Ashley, third panel added showing his text to Ashley about being at a family dinner. The comments section was exploding. Friends I hadn't spoken to in years were tagging others. People were sharing the story to their own profiles. My follower count was climbing by the hundreds every minute. The final slides showed Jake lying to both of us, the fake explanations, the manipulation, and ended with a powerful statement from both Ashley and me about refusing to be victims, choosing instead to reclaim our narrative. Slide 20. When confronted separately, Jake told Ashley I was his crazy ex. Screenshot of Ashley's text confrontation with Jake. Slide 21. While telling me that he needed space because of work stress, voice memo of Jake making excuses to me. Slide 22. All while pursuing a third woman online. Final damning screenshots from the Sophia conversations. For the final slides, Ashley and I recorded a joint video, sitting side by side on my couch. We're not sharing this for sympathy or attention, I began. We're sharing this because staying silent protects manipulators, Ashley continued. And because we refuse to be pitted against each other, I added. When women compare notes, toxic men lose their power, Ashley stated. The last slide was simple, but powerful. Slide 24. Choose integrity. Choose honesty. Choose self-respect. And if someone betrays that, choose exposure. Thank you for witnessing our story. Zoe and Ashley. I also tagged his family members' accounts in certain slides. Petty? Perhaps. Effective? Absolutely. I tagged his mother on the slide about his family values. I tagged his brother on the slide revealing the timing of his double dates during campaign events. I tagged his father's business on the slide showing Jake using company events as covers for his lies. Each tag was strategic, ensuring that not only their notifications would alert them, but their followers would see the connection too. It wasn't enough for Jake to be exposed. I wanted his entire support system to know they had enabled this behavior by prioritizing image over integrity. Was it calculated? Yes. Was it cruel? Maybe. Was it deserved? Absolutely. The final batch of slides went live at 7:45 p.m., right when Jake's brother would be in the middle of his campaign speech at the gala. We had timed it perfectly. The response was immediate and overwhelming. My follower count jumped from 2,000 to 10,000 within the first hour. By midnight, it had hit 25,000. My DMs were flooded with support, similar stories, media requests, and yes, some criticism calling me obsessive or extra, but those were vastly outnumbered by the supporters. The most satisfying message came from Jake's cousin, who was at the gala. His phone started blowing up during his brother's speech. His dad made him leave the room to check it. He never came back to the table. His mom is in tears. Was that collateral damage necessary? I've asked myself that question many times. But remember, his family had welcomed me into their homes, treated me like a future daughter-in-law, all while their son was living a double life. They created the environment where image mattered more than integrity. Jake tried calling me 37 times that night. I didn't answer. He left voicemails that evolved from angry, "How dare you?" to desperate, "Please take it down," to pathetic, "My family is falling apart." I saved everyone. His father called once. Just once. He didn't leave a message. Ashley received similar bombardment from Jake, but she held firm to our pact. We weren't just two women scorned. We were two women refusing to be silenced or shamed for exposing the truth. By morning, my follower count had surpassed 50,000. A gossip blog with millions of followers had picked up the story. 3 podcasts had reached out for interviews. And a brand that sells t-shirts with empowering breakup messages wanted to discuss a collaboration. Meanwhile, Jake's carefully curated life was imploding. His brother temporarily suspended his campaign activities. His mother took a leave of absence from her charity boards. His father's business started getting 1-star reviews online with comments referencing "like father, like son." Do I feel bad about the extent of the fallout? Sometimes. In quiet moments, I wonder if I went too far. But then I remember how meticulously Jake constructed his lies, how confidently he looked me in the eye while deceiving me, how he was willing to waste years of my life while I believed we were building a future together. Actions have consequences. His actions, his consequences. I was just the messenger with an effective delivery method. A week later, I received a letter from Jake's mother, handwritten on her personal stationery. I expected anger, threats, maybe even legal warnings. Instead, it contained just 3 sentences. "We raised him better than this. I am deeply sorry for the pain he caused you. Thank you for forcing us to see who he really is." I didn't respond, but I keep the letter in my desk drawer as a reminder that sometimes the truth, however painfully delivered, is necessary. As for Jake, his Instagram account disappeared. Ashley heard from mutual friends that he moved to his uncle's place in another state. His family apparently told him he needed to rebuild his character before he could come home. And me? Well, my new followers have stuck around as I've transitioned from revenge content to my original lifestyle and fashion focus. That brand collaboration turned into a regular partnership. 2 more followed. I'm not saying destroy your relationship for social media fame. That was never my primary motivation. But I won't pretend I haven't benefited from turning my pain into power. The biggest change, though, isn't my follower count or brand deals. It's in how I view relationships and trust. I'm not bitter or closed off. If anything, I'm more confident in my worth and what I deserve. I know I can handle whatever comes my way, even the worst betrayal, and transform it into something empowering. Last month, I received a DM from a woman in Australia. "I was about to marry my boyfriend of 5 years until I saw your story and something clicked. I checked his phone and found he'd been cheating with multiple women. You saved me from a terrible marriage. Thank you." Messages like that remind me that sometimes our darkest moments can become beacons for others. Would I choose to be cheated on again? Of course not. Am I sorry I handled it the way I did? Not for a second. Some might call it an overreaction. I call it reclaiming my power and helping other women recognize their own. Oh, and the latest update? Ashley and I are now roommates and best friends. We've started a podcast about toxic relationships and modern dating. Our first episode hit the top 100 in the relationships category. Sometimes the plot twist you never saw coming leads to the ending you always deserved. So if you're out there, questioning your relationship, finding red flags but making excuses, stop. Trust your gut. Document everything. And remember that your story belongs to you, not to the person betraying you. As for revenge, I'm not saying as for revenge. I'm not saying it's for everyone. But when done with purpose and precision, it can be more than just settling scores. It can be reclaiming your narrative, exposing truth, and creating unexpected new beginnings. Jake taught me deception. I taught him consequences. And in the process, I discovered that sometimes the best revenge isn't just getting even, it's getting ahead and helping others avoid the same fate. The betrayal that was meant to break me became the platform that launched me, and that might be the most satisfying revenge of all.